when I got to do that, I was 20, 21 years old. That I feel like set me up for life, you know. And even though I say it was probably the toughest or hardest experience I've ever done, that's where I actually grew the most. Yeah, that's it. The red. We probably end up bowling in the nets for a few hours. 2 people that would come and watch, see Dad bowling, they'd stay and just talk to him. Then all of a sudden there'd be 10 people, then all of a sudden 20. But he never said no. He would always wanted to make that person happy, put that smile on that person's face, and because he knew what it meant to that person. I don't know if I've ever seen another Australian athlete with that type of invasion. Like, they literally lived and camped out the front of Dad's house his entire life. The hero's dad was definitely mine and still is.
Dos, we are very privileged to have the man sitting across from us today. We're very excited to hear about his story and all the great things he's doing at the moment. Jacko Warne, welcome to the dos&d show.
Thank you, boys, for having me. This feels a bit surreal for me because I've seen so many of my friends come on this podcast and sit in this chair and tell their story. So it's cool for me to sort of be here and now tell my story. So thank you for having me.
We're right, mate, because like you've said very openly in the media as well, it's you know, you've been asked to do these kind of things for a long time, and it's obviously about the right timing, and we're honoured and feel quite privileged that you've said yes and come in, mate. But how has the last week or so been? Because you've obviously just dropped the Warne's Way podcast, and it's been on Media Street for you. So
I have, and thank you for the plug. But it's been cool. It's sort of something that I never thought I'd actually be doing, like my own podcast. It was something that me and Dad spoke about in 2018-19, because I love the dynamic of a father-son podcast. I just thought that'd be so cool with his knowledge and experience and life that Dad lived, with all the people we would be able to have on as a friend, because Dad was friends with everybody. And then me personally just being able to be like a little kid and listen and hear all these stories and share from my point of view, and probably sound dumb 99% of the time. I would be so happy to do that. And so sort of when we got close to doing it, we were going to do it through Fox Sports. It just never ended up happening, and just schedules and all that sort of stuff. Then COVID happened. But now to sort of have my own and still be able to honour Dad in that way by sort of having something that I said we were going to do and then actually following through with it. Because so many people say they're going to do something and then never follow through with it. With at least this, we said we we're going to do it together, but at least now I'm able to sort of follow through with it. So the feedback's been amazing so far. I've done a few radios and other like Channel 7, 9 and 10 and a few other podcasts, but everyone has been so positive. I haven't had any mean messages yet. I'm waiting for the comment that says it's time to put a tariff on podcast equipment. That's the one comment that I'm scared to get. But
well, don't become the third co-host of this show, mate, because then you'll get that every single day.
I haven't got that yet, but no, thank you for having me.
No, mate, we're stoked. And you mentioned off the top some of your friends that have been on this show, but we're talking kind of off air, and Dos and I were chatting this morning, and one thing that stood out straight away with you is when you reference your friends, they're also mates of your dad too. So we talk about Bakes and Campbell Brown and Tunners and Howie and all these great people. But I feel it's very rare that that a mate of a dad is also so close with the son in terms of not just surface level as a mentor, but as an actual friend. So where did these relationships kind of start? And you've obviously done really well to just keep them.
I think that started for me when I was really, really young, because I was always sort of inseparable from Dad, and it always would start with when he was playing, always following when he was playing, always being in the change rooms and the locker rooms. And then as I gotten older and he sort of would start to have poker nights or parties and all that stuff, I would be mingling in them. And so the very first poker games he used to have was a lot of the Saints boys and a few of his friends, like Bakes, like you said before, and all those guys, Brown Dog. Like, I've known them since 7, 8, 9 years old. And yes, I mightn't have been talking to them then, but I'd be sitting on Dad's lap while he was playing poker and then pretending to shuffle the cards and play with his poker chips. And everyone was always so welcoming. It was never way too competitive that it was sort of an angry environment. It was always just really fun. And because everyone's so busy with their training schedules or playing sport, especially with Dad traveling, when the chance happened for 9 of his closest friends to all be in the same place at the same time, was quite rare. So it was always just a really nice vibe. And so I just would always just be in the environment. And then as I've gotten older, would go out with them and stay in touch with them, go to the footy with them, do lots of life things with them. And then they just became my mates. And I actually always sort of, not define them, but looked at them as Dad's mates, because they're always 20, 30 years older than me. And it was probably actually only until like very recently that I've actually gone, oh, you know what? They're actually my friends too. They're not just Dad's friends, you know. I'm catching up with them when Dad's not here. And because for 99% of the time when I would be catching up with these type of guys, I was always with Dad. And so now for the last 3 years, obviously Dad hasn't been here and I'm still catching up with them. So now I also feel like they're also my friends, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think probably a key element of that too is, yes, they're your mates and they're your old man's mates, but they probably also feel like because they're obviously a bit older, they want to take care of you too, and your sisters as well.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely what we felt as soon as Dad passed. Like that month of March, to me, it feels like the same day, or it feels like a blur. Like it all went so quickly, and what we like that whole month, there was so much happening. Whether it be getting Dad back home, organising funerals, where people should sit, organising state funerals, what music to play, like there was so much that happened in that month that I had so many messages from Dad's friends, but like they all wanted to just make sure we're okay. And especially now, everyone's just always checking in, making sure we're okay. Can they help with anything? And so that's definitely when I started to feel like, oh, you know what? Maybe they have seen me since I was really, really small and really, really young, to sort of now that they also feel quite attached or, you know, maybe emotionally invested in me. I'm not sure what the quiet wording is, but yeah, I feel a lot of the love from a lot of Dad's friends.
Now, we hear these stories about these poker games to this day, and we see photos, and we always hear a little bit of tongue-in-cheek stories.
There's always an Insta story every week.
There's always,
it looks good.
I'll tell you what, it's in one event in Melbourne that if you're invited to it, everyone drops anything to be at Jackson's house, and we've heard about the room you built. Can you take us inside the poker room for those that are unaware?
The poker room, well, there's a few. The poker room, we've got two. There's one that Dad used to have at a big warehouse with, he's like called it his man cave. And then he used to always have it at his house. And at his house, it would always been either the theatre room or the poker room or the living room. But it was always just a place where we could chuck on a multi, watch the footy, play with friends. It was never taken way too seriously. Like no one's actually going there with the intention to try and sort of win, if that makes sense. It's all more of a thing to sort of just catch up and have fun. And yes, winning's a bonus. But yeah, since Dad's passed at my house, I've got a poker room, and it turns out the wallpaper that Dad used to have at his old house, Dad was a bit of like I can't buy 2 or 3 T-shirts, I have to buy 15. And then it'll be 15 white, black and navy blue. So instead of buying 6 or 7 T-shirts, he's now got nearly 50. So a bit like the wallpaper, he'd done all of his measurements, did it all correctly. Yep, he probably only needed maybe 5 or 6 rolls of wallpaper for the room that he had. I think he ordered maybe 70 or 60 or 70. So when I was going through his old storage unit with just all of his stuff, golf bags, cricket bags, golf clubs, everything, I stumbled across a plastic container that did have the exact same wallpaper that Dad had at his old house. So I got in contact with somebody that installs it. I said, I've got the wallpaper. Can you put it up? They said, of course. So now the poker room I've got at my house feels like a mini version of what used to be at Dad's old house. I've got the exact same wallpaper, the exact same poker chips. It's pretty much the exact same crew. The playlist we use and play every single time is a playlist that he took maybe 2 days to make. That goes for about 15 hours. So everything still feels the exact same, just he's not here. But that's the poker room. It's something I'd love to probably play more. It's just hard to find time where everyone's available. But do you boys play?
I've never played in my life, Jack.
Not very,
Jason,
not very well.
You're saving your money. You're saving your money. Don't stay away.
We have talked about it. And I would like to just learn the basics, just so I can say that I've had a go. To be honest.
Yeah.
But you've had a few goes.
I've had a few goes, but not very successful. Played a bit of money on it.
Just quickly, you just touched on it. Like going through, say, storage, your dad's stuff, something like that is, I don't know whether that's for you, if it was really, really difficult and sad, but also so cool at the same time. You know what? Going through that whole experience, was that pretty tough? Going through his stuff?
It probably wasn't tough because we'd done it like our whole lives. Like whenever his wardrobe got full or anything like that, or was throwing out T-shirts and clothes or trackies or whatever, he would be like, Jacko, do you want this or do you want that? And I finally got to an age, maybe when I was about 18, 19, that all of his clothes started to fit. And sort of when you're a bit younger, you're like, I don't want to look like my dad. I don't want to wear his clothes. You sort of wear your own, or you have your own style. But as I've gotten older, 99% of my wardrobe is pretty much his clothes or what he used to wear. Only white, black and navy blue T-shirts, Nike tracky pants, Nike, like all these little things that subconsciously I probably were like, oh, I'm not going to wear that when I'm older. But now, luckily, the shoes, they all fit the exact same. Trackies fit the exact same. The only things that don't fit perfectly are suits, obviously, because his suits were tailored. But there's maybe 3 or 4 that fit that are like perfect, which are now at my home in the wardrobe. But no, I don't think it was sad going through them. I'm quite familiar with everything already. It's not like there was any things that sort of surprised me, like apart from the wallpaper and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. There's lots of things that just make me like smile.
Listening back to your first episode, that's the only one that's dropped to this date. You got the next one dropping tonight, isn't it?
I got Aaron Finch dropping tonight.
That'll already be out by the time this goes out. But
probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
When will this be live?
Oh, we haven't decided yet.
We don't know.
Okay.
We've got to do the backlog of interviews we've done. But
yeah.
What I was going to say is listening to that, and it's weird when you really reflect on your dad. You forget, or weave away from the situation, you kind of forget the enormity of, or how big he really was. Like, our memories, obviously, from the outside are all different, and they're huge, but you forget just what an absolute rock star, superstar he was, global icon. But for you, growing up as his son, what are your early memories of when you first kind of realised, okay, well, things are a little bit abnormal to probably your friends at school or the people around you?
I think it would just be when we'd be going out in public. You know, traveling just like normal. The places would go maybe a bit nicer than others, so maybe that was also a thing. But when you're that young, you're not really taking any note of that. The only thing that I saw when I was younger was, Dad's not home. Where is he? He's playing cricket. Okay, and then he's home. So I only know as a kid when he was with me and when he wasn't. And when he wasn't, I knew he was playing professional sport. But at the time, there's so many other people also playing professional sport. Maybe it's not cricket or it's another sport. But for me, it was just when we were walking around in public, people asking for photos. And I sort of thought that was normal until I got a bit older and I'd go out not with him and no one's asking anybody else for photos. And it's like, oh, they're asking Dad, but not these guys. And I think just the enormity now, especially seeing the Shane Warne stand at the MCG, his statue, like he's got so many, he's literally scattered all around Australia and if not the world, that it's just nice hearing everybody have their own Shane Warne story. And I think for me when I was growing up, I never really took note of the Shane Warne stories, if that makes sense, because I always looked at him as Dad. And even when I'd be going to petrol stations and buying lollies or Slurpees after school, occasionally flick through the magazine or the paper and see Dad front page or back page or whatever it was, I never really took notice of it because I thought it was just normal. But yeah, obviously now I know it's not very normal. Like his life, I use the analogy with Howie. It's like the Truman Show. Like since he was probably 20 years old, his whole life was on display and there was just a massive invasion of privacy. But I think if he didn't have the life he lived and if he wasn't covered in the media the way he was, he might not have the reputation he has. So I only look back with so much positivity and laughter and smiles that, yeah, I don't really look at him as, you know, this global icon. I just look at him as Dad.
Yeah, you know what? I think one thing a lot of us can probably, I lost my dad a few years ago as well, and my dad was my best friend too, but not everyone's dads are their best friends as well. Like that's the other key part to remember as well. Is like you're so lucky that you had such a strong friendship, not just as your father, and I'm sure your sisters feel the same.
Yeah, and firstly, sorry to hear about your dad.
No, thank
you. But there was nothing that was like off limits with me and Dad. Like there was nothing he couldn't talk to me about or nothing I could go to him for advice. And I'm not really that one, like somebody to talk about stuff. I've started doing it lately, like to get things off my chest or whether I'm talking out loud alone just in the car thinking he's with me. But with Dad, he was probably the only person on the whole entire planet that I could talk to him in confidence, knowing like it's not going anywhere else. He'll have the best advice in the world because 99% chance he's probably experienced whatever I'm going through, probably a lot worse. And he just had so much knowledge about everything, about relationship advice, about professional advice, financial, just any type of advice. I knew I didn't need to go anywhere else because I had Dad. And so sort of the last 2-3 years when I've been seeking advice or not sure what to do, I would always just try and think, okay, well, what would Dad say? Or what would Dad want me to do? And when I think about that, usually I find the answer and then it sort of makes me feel good about my decision. But going back to your friends, I have had so many people send me messages saying, hearing how you talk about your dad as like you guys were best mates has really helped me want to be closer to my son or be a bit more active with my son, or maybe realize I don't do enough with my kids. And so just wanted to let you know I'm starting to, do X, Y, Z because I heard your story, which is pretty cool to hear.
That's crazy.
It's awesome. Just going back on those memories as a kid and teenager of going out and the amount of, I suppose, time he spent taking photos with people. How did you feel as a kid? Was it ever frustrating to go out and maybe also talk a little bit about the amount of time Shane did have for other people to make people's days?
I think when I was really young, it would have been frustrating and annoying because I would just want dad to myself. Like even when we were in places like America or Spain, where there is no cricket, but him still getting stopped, that they're like the holidays that I wish it was just like, come on, dad, just be with us. But he never said no. He always wanted to make that person happy, put that smile on that person's face, and because he knew what it meant to that person. But as I got older, I was almost like really excited to go somewhere with him where they don't know he's coming, just because I'd love to see the reaction of people, like especially at our local Taco Bill or at the Macca's drive-through, or when we get into cabs, just like me going in, they've got no idea that dad's about to walk in, this is going to be the best. And so it was always the taxi drives were the best, whether it be in UK or in Melbourne, going from Crown back home or wherever. Those were like some of the funnest times ever, because it was just the reaction I got to see on people's face. And for me, I'm getting to see somebody that loves my dad and dad make them happy. Like I'm happy to just sit in the car and not talk for 30, 40 minutes, and dad and the taxi driver can talk about cricket or what's going to happen in the next Ashes or whatever it was, because I knew that would be making the taxi driver so happy. And so that's time I don't mind giving to the taxi driver, if that makes sense. Because dad could have easily gone, sorry, mate, I'm with Jacko, let me just... But he was never like that. And I think he knew as well that and same with my sisters, we never were like jealous or anything like that. Like we never got annoyed of people wanting to talk to dad if we're with them, or I don't know. I definitely would rather see dad make that person happy than make me happy, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Great episode with Jacko Warne, isn't it?
It's a special one.
We're going to get straight back into it in just a moment. But first, a quick word from our friends at Fleet Plant Hire Solutions. Dos, tell me more about them.
Well, not you and I, but there's lots of people out there that are doing, lots of things.
I can hear some stuff going on
outside.
I know
there is.
Yeah.
I can hear a bit of machinery going out there. For you and I, it's hard to go and find a bit of machinery, whether to buy it, to loan it, to lease it. But when there's people like Fleet Plant Hire who have everything you need in terms of equipment, you just go to them. They look after everything, legal as well, logistics-wise, and they've got access to endless amounts.
That's right.
Why would you want to go anywhere else,
To put it very simply, they're basically the middleman. That's the easiest way to describe it. When you need a job that is worth doing, go to them. fph.com.au. Visit them now.
Back to the episode with Jackson Warne. You've spoken really openly about both your parents. One of the biggest things that they really pushed to you kids was, manners and having respect for people. And we've heard you talk really openly and honestly about that. But what are probably one other key piece of, not necessarily advice, because you just said you're constantly seeking that advice sometimes, but what's another key core value that both your parents have probably drilled into you?
I think just mindset, and mindset with everything. So in terms of getting up early or never giving up, trying really hard at something. If you're going to do something, do it properly. All these just little things that you sort of don't take note of, but then you start to realise, they were right about that. Or actually, I am doing that all the day. They were saying that 10 years ago and I never took notice of it. So I think just mindset, and especially how to sort of deal with adversity or negativity in the public eye. Like there's still negative articles about dad like once a week or once a month, and like he's not here to defend himself. So I always feel like, well, should I engage and defend him, or should I reach out to the journalist, or should I even reply to it or acknowledge it? So I sort of just leave it, and then I'm thinking, well, that's what dad did his whole life, and he always told me to do that, because if there's something negative that goes out about you and you acknowledge it and reply, that just adds more fuel to the fire, and that's probably what they want. And so dad always just ignored. But I think just mindset over everything is what mum and dad would have definitely, or that I've definitely taken probably the most important takeaway from them.
How do you go with a lack of privacy for everything that was going on in his life? during his playing career and after, which is everything being reported, whether it's on field or off field, photos constantly being taken in papers and magazines or whatever it may be. How does that affect even you guys as a family unit?
I think Dad just didn't like when they would just the invade. So I think it would actually, I think the number one thing would be the desperation for a photo or an article. And when I mean desperation, there was so many times where the photographer would just be living outside of our house for years and years and years. And then as soon as Dad and I or the family all hop into the car, that photographer or journalist just following Dad for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, going through traffic, going through red lights, just to see where we got. And there'd be heaps of times where Dad actually would pull over and actually start abusing the journalist, saying, "You're actually being dangerous. You're actually scaring my kids. Can you F off?" But then when Dad's having this confrontation, the journalist got his camera out, the video, and so that's all what the media would see. But Dad was just trying to protect me, Brooke and Summer, and Mum at the time as well. But I think it's just the desperateness of that journalist or photographer just to get a photo or just to get an article. And I think it's just the absolute invasion of privacy that really annoyed me. And I don't know if I've ever seen another Australian athlete with that type of invasion. Like, they literally lived and camped out the front of Dad's house his entire life. And now some follow me, Brooke and Summer, and they recognise our number plates and all that sort of stuff.
That's
and
nuts.
Okay, I understand. That's your job. That's what you do. But I don't know. It's like they just don't care, if that makes sense. It's like they don't care who you are. They're just doing something for their own gain. And there's always going to be publicity, whether it's positive or negative. And Dad was such a positive person and always trying to give back. But a lot of articles would sort of portray him as the opposite, if that makes sense, like a party boy. And, sure he was, but he was actually on a deeper level somebody that wanted to help. So I wish maybe the media just, instead of invading his privacy for their own sort of good or their own, whatever word you want to call it, actually would show the real side. But I think since he's passed, a lot more people are seeing that since the state memorial, and, they're getting to see the side of Dad that we all see, because they're all saying the same things in common. Manners are free, being respectful, trying to make people laugh, helping people, being generous. But sorry, that was a very long answer. I feel like I just
You don't
had
have
a
to
20-minute
apologise.
monologue.
It's a point of a podcast.
Sorry.
No, you need to get used to this, because this is what you're doing now. So podcasting, But your dad was a hero to probably lots of young kids, especially cricket lovers. And keen to know if you were a real passionate cricket fan, and who were some of your heroes, even maybe if they weren't cricket or were they cricket, who were they?
Yeah, heroes. Dad was definitely mine and still is. I don't think I've got any other heroes apart from him.
I knew you were going to say that.
I don't think I've got, he is my hero. And yeah, definitely growing up, he never sort of forced me to play cricket or put a cricket ball in my hands, never pressured me to play locally or anything like that. He just wanted me to be happy. And if I was happy playing with Lego or playing games or playing footy or tennis, whatever it was, soccer, that made him happy. And I actually reckon he probably would have rathered me play AFL instead of cricket. He loved watching me play footy. He just wanted me to play at the Saints or where that was his number one thing. He wanted me to play footy. But
who'd you play for locally, by the way?
I played for East Sandy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
East Sandy locally, and then played for my school BGS. But yeah, maybe stopped when I was maybe 16 or 17 when I found the gym, and then just been in the gym probably ever since.
What position did you play?
I was a small forward pocket.
Small forward pocket.
I was always super, super skinny my whole life.
Yeah.
So then I was just always really scared. I was pretty quick, but I was just scared of getting hurt.
Yeah.
But did he ever teach you a little trick or two with the leggies, or?
Yeah, we always we used to love eating apples. It's probably one of the only fruits we ever actually eat. But we'd always just both be on the couch having an apple and sort of just spinning it like this. But I feel like Dad was always so transparent his whole life with everything, especially with trying to help people, that if you just look up Shane Warne Masterclass on YouTube, you'll be able to find
Jared. Let's
you'll be able to find so many masterclasses of Dad literally giving you the blueprint of how to bowl leg spin. He did it in the early 90s, late 90s, early 2000s after he retired, and he's literally telling you exactly how he bowled it. And so the advice he's telling everybody on TV of how he did it is the same advice he's telling me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So of course, there's a massive part of sport, which is the psychology of it. And he was somebody that just used to love breaking down people's
Here's one.
psychological side of bowling and batting, but no, if you want to learn how to bowl leg spin or anything like that, you could literally just look it up. But going back to the tips that he gave with me, probably
Can you
not.
make that when it comes out of your hand? Does it make a similar sound?
Oh,
or
have
not?
you heard? You heard this? Wait, hang on. Oh no, I can't do it now. Yeah, that's it. The revs.
That sounds frightening.
Yeah.
Imagining yourself as a batter, that coming down at you.
Well, I was literally saying in another podcast, imagine being a batsman and you've heard about the Gadding ball, you've heard about Shane Warne and all this stuff. And he was always really smart before he'd be going into tests, he would sometimes tease in the media like, I've actually discovered a new form of spin. So, and like he would just sort of trick the opposition to thinking, oh my God, has he actually got a different version of spin? Or surely you can only spin the ball that way, or maybe a top spin. But then Dad invented the flipper, which made it look slow, but come in really fast and had like a lot of top spin. Like he would love the psychological factor of sport.
Did you ever face him in the nets, or did any of your mates? Did you ever get any of your mates to say?
Yeah, no. There was a time in 2020 where this is all of the times of lockdowns, and we're sort of just going outside and just going for walks. I actually said, Dad, can we go to the nets and just bowl? He said, mate, of course. So we organised some cricket balls and all that stuff, and we probably end up bowling in the nets for a few hours, and there'd be 2 people that would come and watch, see Dad bowling. They'd stay and just talk to him. Then all of a sudden there'd be 10 people, then all of a sudden 20, 30, and then all of a sudden after
That's
30,
how coronavirus started.
and then after 30, 40 minutes, there'd be 50 people watching Dad and I just bowling the nets, and I was horrible. Like he'd be trying to do my arm a certain way and shoulders and my foot positioning, and I'd spin the ball, it'd hit the top of the net, it'd dribble 4 or 5 times, but then Dad, he'd get it just perfect every single time off like 2 or 3 steps, and it'd bounce 2 meters, right to left to right, top spin. But just hearing the through the air, imagine being a batsman, not only where is he going to bowl it, where is it going to spin, which direction, and now I can hear it too.
Did you ever face him? Did you ever grab the bat and like...
Yeah, of course.
And what's that like?
I think he was always being very nice to me. So I never felt too scared because I always was like, oh, Dad loves me. He'll protect me. He won't go too hard on me. So I never was actually scared. I was just more excited.
Yeah.
But I've had like my friends that face him and from people that told me they'd face him, and they were just scared all the time. But also another trick, I'm not sure if this is common or lots of people know about it, but Dad used to say he would bowl at the end where the sun's up. So, because Dad would always bowl the balls really high up. If you're a batsman and the sun's just up there, and you have to look at the cricket ball that's up there, that's just like a 2%er that would also favour Dad. So it's just all those little things that Dad would sort of add to his craft of not only is it leg spin, it's actually the intimidating mullet. It's the through the air. It's the which way. I love talking about this.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's great to hear. It's really great.
Why don't we have a look? Click play, Jared.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know what one specifically.
2013 it says.
Match, you're looking at the wicket and you have to work out what works and what doesn't. So the only way you can do that is to bowl. So I'll bowl 6 balls to NASA down there.
Good luck, Nas.
And it'll be
Look how many people are watching as well.
A bit quicker, a bit slower for 6 balls, and then I'll work out what the plans are.
Is that Andrew Strauss facing?
Can you see that, D?
I think it's Andrew
Try to
Strauss.
bowl double bouncer.
Did you say NASA?
Oh, who's it NASA saying?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Right
it
on
is.
a line and length.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
First ball, your first thoughts.
Well,
And the
first
run
one's
up
just a
too.
stock standard,
Sometimes
not too
you'd
quick,
start
just a
really
normal
wide
pace
and
leg
run
spin
in.
with a bit of side spin, somewhere around middle stump and see
So
what
how
happens.
old were you when
that
he
one
was
was
keep
okay.
it
Must have
rolling,
played
keep it
pretty
rolling,
well.
keep it rolling. But
Not much spin, just a little bit. So
Like
this one,
2013?
a bit slower and see if it
I
reacts
just mean
differently.
when he was like even playing Big Bash, were you going and watching him play then? And
Yep, so that's like my most,
Bit of
or
bounce,
probably
that
IPL, but
Bit of slow
that's one
bounce.
thing that I'm really
Yeah,
lucky
so
with, that
how the
footage
pitch
never
responds,
dies.
then
Like
the
I can always
slow
go
one
back and
spun
watch
more
this
and
stuff,
bounced.
but
Okay, so that was
in
pretty
terms
good.
of
So now bowl a
cricket,
bit faster
his
one.
international
See
career,
if
I
the same
don't
sort of
really
thing
remember.
happens.
Like when I was really young and he was playing test matches, I just remember like travelling and always, being on planes and stuff like that. But then my most vivid memories of him playing and actually remembering the change rooms would probably be the IPL. Went to a few games when he first started, and then Melbourne Stars. Because Melbourne Stars was, I think, 2012 and 13. Like I'm still in year 7, year 8 then, and like I can actually remember things he's doing, and I could actually go to the games and remember and talk to people about it. But yeah, Melbourne Stars is probably where I've got the most vivid memories. Obviously, I've got a lot of like happy times at all the test matches, but Yeah, I think I've got the most vivid memories of Melbourne Stars.
Who is it? Marlon?
Marlon.
Grabbing
that's-
people.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That was funny. Gosh. Well, with the IPL, so didn't he? Did he? Was his first year over there? Wasn't it a team from scratch? It was a brand new team.
Yes, it was the first year that they started the IPL
That's
in
right.
2008, and Dad had just retired. He never thought he was ever going to play cricket ever again. He's 37, 38 years old. He's had 3 shoulder reconstructions. He's cooked. He never wants to play again. He's got the most amount of wickets. He's happy with how his career played out. He's done. And so he was just really excited for that next chapter, which would have been family, commentary, a lot of poker and a lot of golf. But then in 2008, when the IPL started and people approached him saying, what are you thinking of being the captain and coach of the Rajasthan Royals? Dad was thinking about it for a while, and of course he said yes because he loves cricket, he wants to be involved. And so he said yes, but at the start of the year, they were the cheapest team, the youngest team, and had the oldest captain coach. Didn't have money for a coach, but so Dad said, I'll be the coach as well. And so Dad grabbed a few of his friends as well, and then I actually think maybe 7 or 8 of the players, it was their first ever time playing professional cricket. So a lot of them are still at school or just finished. And so Dad sort of got them all together, made this team, Rajasthan Royals, and it turned out they lost, I think, the first 2 games or 3 games. Then they went on to be undefeated, or maybe they lost 1 more, but then they actually won the championship. And so they'd won the championship from the youngest, cheapest team, the team that no one else had winning ever, and to this day they've never won again.
Wow.
So Dad has a very special spot in Rajasthan's hearts, and I was actually there in April. I went to like a game in Jaipur, and they renamed one of their biggest stands the Shane Warne Gallery. So now he's got a stand at the MCG in England. Shane Warne stand at the MCG, Shane Warne stand at the Junction Oval in St Kilda, Shane Warne Oval where he used to play at East Sandy, Shane Warne Oval at Mentone Grammar where he used to go to the school, Shane Warne stand in Sri Lanka, the pop-up one, Shane Warne stand at Hampshire, Shane Warne Gallery in India.
That's 8.
Statue at the MCG. There's he's got a commentary box at Lord's. What else? He's got so much.
Well, that's 10.
He's got so.
And it's probably not slowing
So
down.
No.
yeah, and I've probably forgot some.
Yeah, you would have.
But I think that just shows how many people love Dad.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
So, I mean, and we could talk cricket all day and some of Warnie's great moments, but I mean, some of the stories we hear is obviously off the field and moments you've been involved in. And again, we had Campbell Brown share this story from his eyes, but I'd love to hear it from your eyes the day that he organised Ed Sheeran to basically pop up at your place. You had a Saints game, and a few of you packed into a car and drove down to the house. But can you maybe share your memories of that day?
Yeah, so Dad and Ed have had such a good relationship for, over 10 plus years. And it turns out Ed's dad loves cricket, and that's sort of how they first met. And Ed asked Dad, look, is there any chance you could just bowl to my dad for, an over or 2 overs? It's one of his dreams. I'd be in debt forever, and this would make him so happy. And Dad's like, of course. Anyway, he ends up bowling to him for 3-4 hours with a bung shoulder, but to see Ed's face and Ed's dad's face, Dad still told me was one of the happiest people in the world because he's making somebody's dream come true. And I think after that moment, Ed and Dad just connected and they had such a good relationship. Ed always offered if we wanted to go to UK or whenever he's in Melbourne, concert tickets, backstage, like whatever we wanted. And so I think this was the last time Ed came to Australia with Dad, but I'm pretty sure it was in 2021. And we had just gone to the footy. It was a St Kilda game. And on the way home, Dad was like, boys, guess who's coming over? He's invited us to go to Crown, but he's coming to our house instead. And they're all like, who? And then Dad just starts putting on Ed Sheeran in the car, blasting, and we're all like, no way. No, surely he's not coming. Anyway, we get home and Ed just came over for 3-4 hours, shared a drink with us. It was, he's just like one of us. Yeah. Loves to have a drink, loves to have a good time, loves to have some fun, loves his mates, loves sports. And so I think he's just a really down-to-earth person. And so that night, I think the next night we actually went to Crown, me, Dad, Ed, the Godinskis, and Nick Williams, I want to say it was, Nick Williams. And then Ed's security guard, Kev, I think his name's Kevin. Security Kev, I think his name is, yes. And Ed doesn't have a phone. Like, he doesn't have a phone.
Oh, really?
So you contact him via email. And so to sort of get in
Does he
contact
carry
with
around
him,
a computer and
he doesn't carry around anything. Maybe it's different now, but for his whole life, he never carried around a phone. So he'd always have his security Kev to do all the talking and organising and coordinating. So Kev was with him everywhere. And so just to sort of be in an environment where Ed's just done a massive concert and he's invited sort of Dad, and I've tagged along with Dad, to spend that 3-4 hours with him at Crown or at our house, like that's so special. And since then, Ed's always, when he was in Melbourne, we've always caught up. When we've gone to the UK, we caught up. And I think that just shows that the connection that Ed had with Dad, he sort of, you know, maybe wants to remember Dad, or I'm not sure what it is, but he's just one of those really down-to-earth people.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the same deal with like seeing, you know, Chris Martin, the way he speaks about, you know, your dad and your family, and might have been a couple of years ago, you know, seeing you guys go to Perth and, you know, be, you know, backstage like that. Just, your dad's left just such an incredible legacy with the biggest stars and names across the globe.
Yeah, and like I don't want to try and sound like a dick or a name dropper or anything, but like to these guys, I genuinely look at them as friends, and I look at them as friends because of the relationship they had with Dad and how they made Dad feel and how they made us feel and how welcoming they were. And like for Chris, like he was one of the first people to reach out after Dad had passed away, you know, FaceTiming us. Is there anything we can do to help? What would make you the happiest person? How can we help? You know, just asking all these things. And he obviously was so close to Dad, so it was such a tough time for him, but to still write a song called Eulogy and honour it in Dad, and then film it and go, actually, I can do it better, and then film it again, and just all these little things that it's so impossible to ask somebody to do something like that. So just, he wanted to do it. He was like, for him, a bit of closure as well. So I'm catching up with him next week, and I'm so excited.
Unreal.
Yeah, we go
Is
to
that
the
a
UK.
little sneak peek into a potential?
Maybe I hope so, but he's not very big on interviews, and the last thing I want to do is sort of ask if he felt comfortable coming on camera and talking about Dad. But he is one of the people, like I said before, on that dartboard.
Yeah, he'd be amazing.
That I'd love to get.
I was reflecting this morning, just thinking about when on the way here, and just thinking about the State Memorial, and I was actually racking my brains. It was almost like a little game. Like, who in Australia currently or ever could actually, if they passed away, would have something of that size? And I couldn't think of a single person. You know, I could only liken it to memorials I'd seen of people in the States, like a Michael Jackson, for like these massive like names of maybe. I don't know, it's never a nice topic to talk about that time period, but what are your kind of recollections of that time, especially the memorial?
I think it was just one of the most wonderful produced services ever. Like I'm so happy. I've only watched it back once, but I'm so happy with how the night went, because obviously everybody is going through the same thing. Everybody's just, well, not the same thing, but everybody is sad. Everybody is emotional. Everybody's still grieving, and to sort of put together a stage, a production, fly all these people from around the world that Dad played with or worked with, singers, athletes, but them all want to do the right thing by Dad and honour Dad and make Dad proud. Like for a lot of these people, like Alan Border, Nasser Hussain, who we were just watching, all of these, Brian Lara, all these people had such a connection to Dad that, of course, talking about him would make them sad, but they still got on stage, they still spoke for 20, 30 minutes with a smile on their face, and I think Dad would be so happy that's how the service went. I just think it was I think it was the perfect send-off. You know, I don't think it was too crazy. I think it was really emotional. I think it was appropriate. I think you got to hear from a lot of different people from all walks of life, all say similar things, which just shows Dad was always himself. And I'm happy that people got to see sort of that side to Dad, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
for sure. A person that just came to mind, again, he's another former guest, but he was so close with your old man, and he spoke about him when we had him on, is Sam Newman.
Sammy, yeah. I love Sammy.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, as a kid, do you have any memories of Sammy and your dad? And I'm sure you walked the golf course with him.
Yep, walked the golf course with him. But one memory that stands out a lot with Sam is Sam and Dad loved cars together. Like, they loved cars. We used to go looking at cars at, I think it's called Dutton's or Dutton's One. It's like a car gallery, and they just used to love cars. But there was one video where, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it, maybe the people listening have, there's a famous drive called the Black Spur.
I have heard of this.
Have you? And the Black Spur is a drive on the way to a golf course at Cathedral Lodge. And Dad, he was on Top Gear. He did all the driving courses. He did the beginning, intermediate, advanced, and police driving course. Like, he was a very capable driver, very good driver. And there was a time with Sam Newman, they were driving through the Black Spur. I want to say it was maybe 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m., not many people on the road. And I've never seen somebody who also likes to drive, Sam Newman, actually scared in a passenger seat. Like, he's videoing himself, and Dad's concentrating on the wheel with the paddles and the steering wheel, and Sam's going, my word. You know, like, he's doing his voice and all that stuff, and he's just looking at Shane, and you can see Dad concentrating, quickly look at Sammy, laugh, and Sam's like, keep your eyes on the road. But like, it had to have had a 2 in front of it for how fast Dad was going, and that's like around corners, and I'm not sure if anybody, like, the Black Spur is such a, think about, you guys are from Mornington. Mm-hmm. Have you driven around sort of the...
Yeah, like that Esplanade? Or
Yeah, like on the way to... do you know Tyab? Oh,
Yeah.
We went to school there.
Yeah,
oh, did you? Okay. So there's like a really good drive from sort of that area on the way to Tyab, and it's like either the highway or the windy roadway. Just picture windy road.
I know what you're talking about.
You do? Okay. So that road, that's like what the Black Spur is.
That's giving me anxiety.
There's no rail guards. If you fall off, you're effed. You know, your car, it's exploding, it's falling, you're gone. But Dad, without a care in the world, and he just had such confidence in his abilities to drive, and just to see Sam, who's also a very capable driver, like, scared, that's probably one of the funniest memories ever. I'd have to find that video somewhere, but yeah, just to hear Sammy go, my word, and then see Dad driving.
You did that so well too, my word.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But they had a great relationship. They loved playing golf together, loved looking at cars and driving cars together. I think they both had a Lamborghini at a point in time too. But yeah.
Are you a lover of cars too? Because I remember listening to an interview of your dad once, and he talked about his first ever car, and it was a bit of a shitbox, but he was so proud of it.
Yeah.
And the sound that he could get, I think you correct me if I'm wrong, but he spent a lot of money to actually get the sound to room in there. Maybe you can share that.
Yeah. No, he loved his cars, and for such a long time, he'd always sort of, when he had a car, every 12 months would hand it back in and get the newer one or a bigger one. He just always liked that excitement, that new car feeling, and he just loved pushing the boundaries. You know, he sort of, and I've said it before, he just lived life on like different rules. You know, even the smallest things I did with Dad, like driving, were fun. You know, going to the Macca's drive-through, the drive that would take me maybe from the house to the Macca's, that'd take maybe 8 or 9 minutes. He'd try and do it in 2. He'd try and dodge every single light possible. He would show me his line of driving instead of just following the lines around the road. He'd go, no, you want to keep the car as straight as possible at all times. You want to hit the apex, all this stuff. That it was just fun because I'm learning. It's exciting. I know deep down I'm safe. We're not actually going to crash. Yeah. I looked at Dad as Superman, so I never thought anything ever like that could ever happen.
Did he ever crash a car, by the way?
Oh, heaps. Yeah. He did push the limits. There's a really famous photo, I think, of Dad. He was stuck behind a really slow car, and then the tram line started going down. I think it was in Albert Park or Middle Park, and they were going down, and Dad's like, nah, I can make this. So he zigzags out, tries to go through, and the trams just clip the back of his car. And there's a really funny photo of Dad looking at the car going, oh. And there's a smashed car, but he was, I want to say, as much as he was fun and exciting to drive with, he was also very safe.
Yeah.
Like, I know I jokingly say Sam was sort of scared. I know Sam would have felt safe.
Yeah.
Or else he just would say, Dad, stop. But everything with Dad was fun and exciting, especially driving. That's probably actually one thing I really do miss, would just be driving with Dad. Because I'd like to try and think I drive like him, but I'm not in the passenger seat while he's driving, if that makes sense. I'm the one driving, so now I've got the responsibility. Yeah. Whereas if it's Dad, I can sort of be like, it's Dad's fault. But now I'm driving, so, oh, shit, it's my fault.
Yeah. You did SAS, the show, and obviously the course, and just absolutely crazy. But one thing that I was thinking about yesterday when prepping for today is I just find it so eerie and a bit weird that you did that prior to all of this happening. And it'd be great to have you explain the show and the whole concept and Ant Middleton and the rest of the guys. But it almost seems like you put yourself in that position and learn all these life skills, and now you've been confronted with the worst possible scenario
Yeah.
ever, but it was almost your preparation.
Yeah, I definitely want to say it helped me out a lot with just general life skills and building resilience and all that sort of stuff. Because on the show, and I say show, it didn't feel like a show at all. It's more like it is a military-styled course. Ant wrote the whole thing himself. Ant takes it and he has his other 3 DS with him. But Ant's pretty much said to the production crew, because I've got a quite good relationship with Ant now, he pretty much tells them, look, I'm going to run my course. You videographers and producers and all you guys, keep up. And so Ant pretty much just runs the course. If there's some footage that gets missed or someone forgets to hit record, that's fine. Ant is trying to change 18 recruits' life, whether it be for the better or for the worse. But I always feel like he's trying to get everybody, he breaks down all their barriers, gets you down to the surface level, exposes all your weaknesses, tries to bring out your strengths, and just builds on that. And when I got to do that, I was 20, 21 years old. That I feel like set me up for life, you know, just getting so out of my comfort zone. I had to write down what my 3 biggest fears were. And at the time it was food, socializing, and cold water. Going onto the course, I had to pretty much be cold every single day. It was filmed in Mount Jindabyne, which is like one of the coldest places in Australia. It's one of the snowy places in New South Wales. So it was in cold water every day and was cold. So I
the
faced
snowy
that fear.
mountains.
And the snow, exactly, in the snowy mountains. The second one, food. I've always been a fussy eater, but I call it simple. I'm just a simple eater. Mm-hmm. But I had to eat all the foods on the course or else I had nothing. And socializing, I've always been quite introverted and shy, but then going onto that course and having to do, you know, these really, really tough tasks with 17, 18 other people you've never met before, you know, that got me out of my comfort zone too. So that's where I actually noticed the most growth in my life. And even though I say it was probably the toughest or hardest experience I've ever done, that's where I actually grew the most. And so almost a bit like Dad, even though that was the saddest and shittest thing that's happened in my life, I feel like the growth I've made in the last 3 years has been probably more than I have in my entire life. But going back to SAS, I would love to somehow do it again if the chance ever came up, because I'm confident now with the mindset and my body that I'd love to do it. But doing it with people like James Magnuson and Candice Warner and the Honey Badger and Sabrina, everybody I did it with, they were animals. They were machines. And I think because it was the first season, maybe they didn't, but I took it and it felt like everybody took it so seriously that we call it a show, but there was no cast to production interaction at all. The only time the recruits, me and everybody else, spoke to anybody from the production, which is the film crew and all that stuff, was when they were changing our wet or dry packs, which is our microphones, to a wet pack. And when they'd be changing it from a dry pack to a wet pack, that's just the shittest feeling ever, because it means you know you're going to be getting in cold water, or you're doing something involving with water and it's going to be freezing. So, no, I am very lucky I got to do that at such a young age. I think I am, maybe it's different now, but I think I was the youngest recruit at the time. I'm not sure if there's been someone younger doing it on another season, but yeah, I'm just lucky that I got that chance to do that. And now since doing it, Ant was one of the first people to reach out to us to catch up after Dad had passed, and I've now done his podcast and we stay in touch quite a lot. I got to take him to the Aussie Open. He took me to the F1. And so he's sort of like become my mentor. He's an awesome person.
When you say simple food eater, what are you talking?
Eggs, chicken, rice.
Rice.
Eggs, chicken, steak, and then I include rice in there somewhere. But like if, for example, I try and diet and train really hard Monday to Friday, so then come Friday night or Saturday night or Sunday morning, like if I want Macca's, I don't feel guilty. I eat it. I love it. It's like my favourite thing to do is probably get drive-through Macca's. But no, I have a great relationship with food. I'd like to think I'm a simple eater, very low maintenance. But yeah, what do you guys like with food? Do you follow diets or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very much like you. I'm a very simple eater. I don't do sauces or anything like that. You're a bit more.
Don't do sauces at all.
Not really.
So if you're having like a burger, no sauce.
You wouldn't eat a burger.
Well, if it's a burger,
you don't eat a burger?
Oh no, I would. But how do I explain? Like, if you have a roast, I won't have gravy. Like,
no, I've never had gravy.
Do you know what I mean? It's that kind
Actually,
of.
I was shocked when I'd listened to that Ant pod. You'd never had soup prior to.
Never.
That
So
shocked me.
Yeah, that was when Chappelle Corby sort of saw me not filling up my thing of soup. And she's like, "Oh, are you okay? Like, you're not eating any food?" I said, "I actually have only had like 10 different foods." And she was like, "Oh, what?" And that was the one thing Mum and Dad going onto the course, they were like, "Please just don't bring up your food habits, your diet."
they're like,
because they think it's a bad reflection on their parenting. They think, "Oh, people are going to think we don't feed you." And I'm like, "No, well, like, it's not your guys' fault I don't eat. You know, if I'm an adult, if I want to eat or try something, I can do that. I don't want you guys to feel guilty for my eating habits. You're not responsible for that. Maybe the first 10 years before I don't have a decision what I eat, sure. But, you know, I'm an adult. I can make my own decisions. But, yeah, when I tried tomato soup and was getting exposed for only having a few foods, I was a bit like, oh, okay, maybe I should try different foods. But now I found a really good sort of 3-4 meals that I eat every single day. It helps me in the gym. I hit all the sort of my macros. I lose weight and, you know, I feel good.
This is a man that when's on a cut likes to just eat ice, chew on ice to get you through.
I did.
And
Well,
to
that
beat the
was
craving.
at the start of the year when I was Fat Jack, which is what my friends and family call me, because I've got two versions of me. I've got normal Jack, which is now, and then I got Fat Jack. And I've been Fat Jack twice before. I was Fat Jack in 2018, and then I was Fat Jack. Fat Jack came back maybe
Fat
3
Jack sounds
months.
like the name of a movie.
Yeah,
Oh,
Fat
it sounds
Jack.
like a
Fat Jack 2
To me,
coming
it sounds like
to
a
a
fast
cinema near
food
you.
restaurant.
Yeah, yeah.
Fat Jacks.
Fat Jack came out maybe 3 months after Dad passed, because apparently when you go through, you know, traumatic things and all that sort of stuff,
Sure.
your hormones all get out of whack, and your metabolism and digestive system, your sleep, all these things. Anyway, turned into Fat Jack. And then I was Fat Jack for probably 2-3 years. And then at the start of the year, I'm like, nah, Fat Jack's got to go. He's, you know, see you later. I don't like looking at photos and looking at a circle. I just want to, you know, I want to look normal and feel normal again. And so went really strict for 7-8 weeks, lost a lot of weight. Now I'm back to being normal. But there was times where I'd get so hungry in bed, and I'd literally just go to the freezer, fill up a cup of ice, and just chew on ice.
I think
before
that's
bed.
actually a good.
Bodybuilders do that.
Do they?
Yeah, because like when they're prepping for a show, especially on the day of a show, like they can't drink any water. It's water weight.
Yeah, exactly.
So they just crunch on ice.
But if they crunch on ice, technically wouldn't that...
But
when
it's
it hits you-
getting water at a smaller amount.
Yeah, true.
So
Only
if you were to
like-
drink the water, that's probably like
Yeah,
4 ice cubes
Yeah.
in like one sip, whereas you just slowly chew it.
Yeah, it's crazy how disciplined bodybuilders are to look good for 1 or 2 days on a show. Like, it's crazy.
It is.
You spent, again, I'm on my own little no alcohol journey, but you went a year without booze as well, didn't you?
I did the whole year of 2023 without a drink, just because so many people after Dad had passed came up to me and they said, "Oh, I just wanted to let you know when I lost my brother or my sister or my mum or dad or whoever, or divorce, I turned to drugs and alcohol, and, you know, all of a sudden I woke up and it had been 5 years." And when I was hearing all this stuff, I just lost 2 years. We all just lost 2 years of COVID. And then sort of coming out of lockdowns and COVID, being told I'm going to lose another 3, 4, or 5 years because my dad's just passed away. To me, that was my worst nightmare. So I sort of wanted to go the opposite route of don't do any drugs or alcohol. I don't do drugs anyway, but no alcohol. So if I can just combat this head on, fully sober, feel the emotions, feel all of the ups and the downs, and maybe help people by doing that, I want to do that. And so I did it, and I probably noticed a lot of difference in the first about 100 days. Just my mental clarity, no brain fog, skin, general well-being, quality of life, it all improved. And then once I did that year, I think I helped a few people also try theirs. But like going back to now, I'm not going to deprive myself of a drink if I want to have one. It has to be sort of like a big celebration. Have you guys had hard rated no sugars? Is that a dumb question?
No, I have.
You have? Okay. They're
good.
dangerous,
Yeah, they're
because I
good.
have one of them and then I'm like, okay, I could have a few
Now
of
I'm
these.
ready to go. I know exactly that
Yeah.
Look at now an orange flavour.
They
out
do.
too.
It tastes like Sunkist.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
very
try
good.
that now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Actually,
so
no, we
that's-
got Tommy's.
He likes
They're-
the Suntories. The
the 196s?
Yeah, the 196s.
No,
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you've had them.
Oh,
We
no,
had
I'm
them
not a
at,
massive fan of him.
Club Retro.
I'm strictly Tommy's man.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, but
Now,
that's...
which you're about to learn about shortly, Jacko.
Yes.
I wanted to ask. So you're doing great work now, and it's incredible what turning again the shittest situation into now saving people's lives, and we'll talk about that in a second. But prior to all that, going back to your 21-year-old self, what was your plan in what you wanted to do in life?
In life, I think I've always... Okay. So I had always two things I've always wanted to do. One, and I'm nowhere near this, I'd love to be a professional poker player. That's just something I'd love to do. It's like a massive hobby of mine. Am I in no way, shape or form good enough to be a professional yet? Have I won enough money as a poker player? Nowhere near it. Do I have any sponsors? No. So all the boxes that you need to tick to be professional, I'm not even close. But then the other thing is I'd love to open up my own gym. And I got very close to at the start of 2024. I've got the concept, the idea, got in touch with all the equipment, floor planning, designing, everything was ready to go. I was very close to actually opening one and launching one. I submitted an offer at a site down in Church Street and pretty much submitted it that if the owner had said yes, I would be open. Unfortunately, he said no, and it turned out to be a Snap Fitness. But I look at that as sort of a blessing in disguise because maybe I wasn't ready to open up the gym, and instead of getting sort of sad by it, I was like, okay, maybe it's not meant to be yet. And plus, I think the gym space, it's probably one of 2 or 3 things that no matter how advanced we get with technology, they'll always be there. People always need hospitals and GPs, and people always need somewhere to exercise. Like no matter how advanced we go with technology or how, isolated people get and they want their own gyms or whatever, people always want to leave the house and go train or socialise. And so that's sort of my passion because I love it as well. So if one day you see Warne's Wellness pop up, that's mine. And if you see me become a professional poker player somewhere on TV, well, then I've achieved my dreams come true. But they're the 2 things I probably would have thought I would be doing. If Dad was still here, I would like to have hoped maybe we started the podcast together. I definitely know if we did, it would have been called Warne's World because that's what he wanted to call it. He loved... There used to be a podcast back in the day that Mike Myers did, who's the actor of Austin Powers, and I think his podcast or show was called Wayne's World. So Dad loved that idea. He's like, I want to call it Warne's World. So yeah, I'd like to think I'm doing half of what I would have been doing if Dad was here, but yeah, I'm not sure. If you'd have told me I would have been talking about health checks and heart and spreading heart awareness, I probably wouldn't have believed you. I didn't know what that looked like. And if you had told me I'd be talking on camera every day, interviewing people, I wouldn't have believed you either because I wouldn't have been confident enough. I would have been way too shy. But I think things happen in your life and you either adapt or you let it beat you. And I think I've adapted and hopefully helping people on the way.
What's your relationship like, with your sisters, especially after all of this now? You guys seem like really close.
Yeah, I think I've always had a really good relationship with our family. Like we've always been really close. I think when I finished school, I moved in with Dad full time and my sisters lived with Mum full time. So I didn't really see them as much, but that didn't stop us all from catching up. But definitely since Dad's passed, we have gotten a lot closer. And I think it's quite sad that things like this have to happen to families that bring people together. But I'm very lucky that when this did happen, instead of us sort of going opposite ways, we came closer. Because I've heard when this has happened to people, they've actually gone the opposite ways. People haven't spoken to their brother or their sisters in 10 years or 15 years. And I'm very lucky that me, Brooke and Summer are on the same page with pretty much everything. And so, no, we're very close.
It's good.
It's really good to hear. I know.
Do you guys have brothers and sisters?
Both 2 sisters
Both have
as well.
2 sisters.
In
Exact
the
same.
middle? In the middle?
I'm in the middle.
I'm the
You're in the
eldest,
middle?
Yeah.
You're the youngest?
Eldest, yeah.
Eldest?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, you guys are very, very similar. in
Yes.
What
Yeah.
you guys have gone through as family. So, mate, we know you've got because you're on Media Street and you have got places to get to. So
No, please don't think you have to rush. I've got
no,
as
you've
much
already,
time
mate.
as you
Well,
guys need.
I want to say Jacko has been, and we were told by so many people how polite you are, and I was blown me away how polite Jacko is. It's insane. You talk about manners. This is next
I
level.
haven't been surprised.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He even did something for us earlier and made a phone call that could extend this chat. So we're grateful for that too. But we are going to bring out your goodies shortly. But before we do, maybe just talk a bit more about what you're doing and how people can get these checks.
So the Shane Warne Legacy is a not-for-profit organisation that was set up by a lady called Helen Nolan, who was Dad's PA for 15, 20 years, and now she's the CEO. And we've also got a guy called Anjani Futu, who is one of Dad's managers who does all like the managing and the commercial side of it. But I'm just lucky that the legacy now, which is the Shane Warne Legacy, can literally save lives. And the way it saves lives is we've got over 350 machines all around Australia. And we're actually nearly at 350,000 total checks. And we only launched in December 2023. So to have that amount of checks and that amount of machines in such a short amount of time is so unheard of. And we're really, really excited for this up-and-coming Boxing Day test, because one thing I love with all these big public activations is that's when I get to meet the most people. And there's been so many stories of people that have gotten these checks and now they're alive today. So I think the best way to find out more would probably just be go to the website shanewarnelegacy.com. And if you're wanting to try and find the machines, you can literally just put in your postcode and the one, like your closest one to you will pop up.
Awesome,
But
mate.
thank you for letting me plug it.
Oh, mate.
Mate, don't be silly.
Oh, and you know what? Plug the pod as well. Tell us, the first episode has just dropped. Well, actually, now that this is out, there's probably been a couple drop, but maybe a few of the guests that are in the pipeline or that you've recorded, and, maybe tell people where they can go and follow and listen.
Yeah, so the name of the podcast is called Warne's Way, and a few of the guests you'd be looking forward to hearing is, if you're a Saints fan, I've had Jack Higgins on, who's obviously a player, and Andrew Bassett, who's the president. He was a very close friend of ours, and he's a great, great man. And then if you love media people, I've got Eddie Maguire. I've obviously had Howie. If you like cricket, I've had Aaron Finch. And then I'm not sure if you're into... Have you seen a guy that orders big Chinese meals and goes, bosh?
Yeah.
Have you seen that guy?
Yeah, I know him.
Big John?
Yeah, Big
You've
John.
seen him?
Yeah.
So I
he
had
was out in Australia, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came to Melbourne, so I've had him on as well, which will drop in a few weeks. So I definitely don't want people to think it's
Chinese.
only... Yeah, I don't want people to think they have to come on and talk about Dad, or it's only going to be about Dad, because I owe it to my guests to share their story and to talk about what they want to talk about and see if we've got things in common. But obviously for people like Howie and Eddie, Dad was such a big part of their lives, and we share that in common, so we want to talk about him. But like with Finchy, he comes up maybe a few times and we talk about it for 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, I want this podcast to be about anything and everything. The core will obviously be sports, because that's what people, that's what I have in common with nearly everybody. And even if they're not directly involved in sports, like Eddie wasn't an athlete, but he was involved in sports through Collingwood, now through broadcasting and being a panellist, journo, whatever word you want to call. But yeah, I think that'll be the core. So if you're interested in something like that, I think you'd enjoy the podcast.
Love it.
And for any Saints fans watching or listening, there's been a rumour today that Nas has signed, and I think Jacko had something to do with that. I'm only joking.
I had absolutely nothing to do with that. And
but you did have pulling power, and apparently you're willing to go to lengths to get that contract.
I probably don't have pulling power, but I jokingly said I'm not sure if Naz is a cricket fan, but if he is, I might have some spare cricket balls to put in the contract with some dad signatures or whatever, or some
and that's
memorabilia.
stuff that money can't buy. So.
I'd like to hope so, but thank you so much for having me, boys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
I appreciate that, Jacko. And in return, we've got a few gifts for you, mate, that we bring out.
I did see this. I did come onto your guys' set a little bit early, and I did peek at your previous guest receive these gifts, and it almost felt like Christmas. So
let's try and
it's
replicate
Christmas, that's for
you.
sure. So
What's the first
we've
one?
got Milkman Australia, Jacko. So Milkman Australia, they are the leaders and the best when it comes to all things men's grooming. So unzip that, mate, and see which one did we give Jacko?
For my moustache, thank you.
Oh, the moustache.
But inside there, mate, I think that he's got some something to freshen you up. There might be some body wash, some natural deodorant.
Perfect.
Maybe some cologne. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's my favourite. I use that each day. The
body
boozy
wash.
That's the boozy body wash.
I do need a new... Is this hair? A comb? This is my mow brush. Okay.
The mow brush. Well, you can probably use it for the old
If you ever
scone as
go
well.
down the mow.
I was going to say my hair is getting awfully thin, so I do need some help
And
with
I
that.
think there's some natural deodorant in there as
Beard
well.
and
Which
moustache.
chuck
Few
that,
little things.
chuck that under the pits
perfect.
after the gym. That'll be nice.
Yeah, well, the little tip is always leave some deodorant or aftershave or fragrance,
car.
whatever you want to call it, in your car.
Oh,
So
yeah.
whenever you go into a meeting or you're on the road all day, you can always spray something and smell good. So I'll
100%.
definitely
So
add that into my
if you want to be
collection.
like Jackson, head to milkmanaustralia.com. Use the code dos&d for 20% off.
And I tell you what, with
Thank you.
Father's Day coming up, that is a perfect gift for your dads out there. So make sure you get on board that. Now, what do we got next? We've got Russell Athletic and Mitch Dowd, Jacko. So in there, they like to look
Thank you.
after each of our individual guests. So I think they might have a nice little tracksuit for you in there, mate, for your workout. So have a little look in there. While
Thank
Jacko does do that, we got to say our friends at Russell Athletic and Mitch Dowd are giving 40% off. Can you believe that, Dos? If you use the code dos&d40 at checkout, at mitchdowd.com.au or russellathletic.com.au. And what have they sent you, mate? They've got. It looks like there's
This
some.
is perfect. There's a few pairs of shorts, some grey trackies, which you can never ever go wrong with.
No,
a
you
hoodie
can never
and
go
a
wrong with
matching
those.
Trackies
set.
look nice.
This is literally what I'll be wearing probably tonight after I get
Well,
home.
beautiful, mate. And try them on later on. And if
Perfect,
they don't
thank
fit,
you.
we'll fix you up. And
No,
we
I'm
do
sure
need to
they'll
say that Russell Athletic got the new R-Tech Leisure range out, featuring Buttersoft Airweave technology for Russell. So again, another great gift in time for Father's Day. Now next we've got. Here we go. So we know you're not. Are you on the booze at the moment, or do you have a?
I'm not on
occasional
or off. If there's
Special
something,
occasion.
yeah, if there's something coming up, a
Beautiful.
function or a birthday, I'm sure I'd like
Put
to
these in the
celebrate.
fridge, and
Well,
when
they-
you've got a visitor
Ex-
around.
Exactly. Maybe at the next poker night when you boys come, we
Exactly.
can open them.
That's it, mate. Now, are you? Do you spend much time on Chapel Street? Have you wandered
When
around
I used to, when
back in the day?
before COVID, I think I've only been there a few times since we've gotten out of lockdown.
Well,
but
do you know what we'll do, Jacko? We want to take you out one night to our mates at Freddy's. So Freddy's Pizza is a beautiful Italian pizzeria and wine bar in the middle of Chapel Street. But lately they've just brought out the Tommy's Booze, which is
Very nice.
a beautiful vodka mix, isn't it, Dos?
Perfect, because I only drink vodka.
Yes, I'm the same, exactly.
Yeah.
And they
Lovely
go
little
to-
spritz, and the sun's coming out lately, so it's perfect.
And I'll tell you what, our cameraman came in this morning and plugged it and said they've gone down an absolute treat. So he loves it, mate, and that's good enough for me. But if you guys watching at home want to get hold of Tommy's, make sure you do, because they are it's a taste of Italian, which I like. Tommy's 01 for 10% off at tommysbooze.com.au.
Great selection as well. You've got lemon spritz, raspberry spritz, and mandarin spritz.
Mandarin's my favourite.
Is it? Because I actually have a story about mandarin. I tried my first mandarin when I was on SAS.
Oh, really?
How
I
good,
did.
how good is a
when I was
mandarin?
21 years old, and it was probably the best thing I've ever had because my mouth was so dry and I barely was eating the food on there. But every time, because we were allowed one piece of fruit a day, I'd always pick the mandarin,
ridiculous.
and it was unbelievable.
There
So
you go.
I,
You
can
I
get
think
some
I'll be
crappy
like you, and this
mandis.
might be my new favourite
Well, I'm
drink.
looking
Perfect.
forward to hearing. And then finally, what have we got? to
Oh,
finish
this
it?
will be
Oh,
Jackson's
this is
favourite.
right up
so
Jacko's.
supplements. So Jacko, you obviously are big into the gym. I'm sure you've got a few supplements in the pantry at home.
Yeah, so my supplements I take at the moment is pretty much just creatine, pre-workout, protein powder, and sometimes some BCAAs and stuff like that.
Well,
Perfect.
in
So
your hand, I think you
I
got
don't know if
Yeah,
you've tried the gummies, but supplements, they are leading the way in all things performance gummies. So you got the pre-workout, I think the creatine and the BCAAs as well. They taste bloody amazing.
So do you take all these as well before you train?
I've taken all of them, but BCAAs I have that after training. It's a bit more of a recovery, and
Yeah.
then the creatine I take that before as well. But
And what about the pre-workout? Because it says intensifier on here.
I'll
Have
tell you what, I'm not. Everyone will think I'm bullshitting with that, but I genuinely have never been able to lift more than I've been lifting since taking them before the gym.
Really?
They actually pumped me up.
You hit a few PBs on this?
Yeah, a few PBs, which I guarantee is probably nowhere near your PBs, but it has
that's
helped
okay.
me. So
And
Oh,
they
well
are, they're also HASTA approved. So everything's all above board. It's been checked. It's been ticked by
Perfect.
all the right governing bodies. So if you guys want some supplements and some performance gummies, head to supplements.com. 30% off.
Yes.
Use the code dos&d.
much
Get involved.
You can get them at your local supermarket or chemist warehouse. But if you want the 30% off, head direct to the site. And finally, mate, to carry it all home, there's some
More presents.
Yeah, this will finish
guys are way
finish
too
it off,
generous.
mate. There's some more subs in there for you as well.
Thank you.
But in there too,
Oh, cool bag.
Oh, thanks,
Thanks,
mate.
mate.
We take a lot of pride in our dos&d tote bag. But
No, it looks good.
Our naming right partners, Fleet Plan Hire Solutions, in there, mate, they've got some golf accessories. So you find some balls, tees, a glove, a towel, just some things for the course, mate. But it's just our little way of thanking you for giving us some time today.
No, mate, thank you guys for having me. This is very, very generous. So this will be the first bag I use when the summer comes around when I go to the
Perfect,
beach.
mate. Love it.
Love it, mate.
No,
No,
thanks
thank
so
you.
much for making the time, mate. And just congratulations on everything you're doing, the person you are. And, like you've always said, if you can just be yourself, you're going to succeed in life. So, mate, you're only a short, period in that journey. So, congrats.
Thank you. It's exciting, and it's thanks to you guys as well for giving me the platform to talk about the legacy and to talk about my podcast. So, and also to talk about Dad. So, thank you so much for having me on, boys.
Thank you.